Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
Welcome on into the post-game show. This is a brutal loss for the 76ers as they lose 4 straight games. They go on this road trip. They knew it was going to be tough. You had the Atlanta Hawks, the Boston Celtics, the Miami Heat, the Milwaukee Bucks. You knew it was going to be an insane stretch, and they failed to win one basketball game. Another disappointing night. Shocker. Joel Embiid was pathetic throughout this game. You can maybe say that there's something wrong with his hand, and that is an issue, and there's a reason why he's not being able to be himself because there's no touch out there. But here's the difference. Here's the problem. That doesn't affect hustle. That doesn't affect body language. That doesn't affect the eye test when you watch this guy out there. He's not competing at a high level. He's carrying himself brutally, and it looks embarrassing. The entire broadcast was ripping apart the Sixers. The Sixers are now national media news. The pathetic, consistent effort is on display, and everyone is drilled in on how bad it is, and deservingly so. They should be criticized by every single media outlet because what they're doing is ridiculous, and it's unacceptable behavior. But yet here we go, another game where Joel Embiid doesn't look engaged, a game where you have Ben Simmons not being aggressive. He finished with 6 field goal attempts. He was trash in this game. Don't tell me about his rebounds. Don't tell me about his assists. Ben Simmons was not aggressive. He would dribble, and he would go hard to about the free throw line, pick up his dribble, look around to see what was going to happen. Nothing would happen. Here's what really bothers me. And I tweeted in the second quarter with about 5 minutes to go. I said Al Horford already took 5 threes. There's still 5 minutes remaining in the second quarter. He already has 5 threes. Well, guess what? He ended up taking 12. 12! Now, he hit 5 of them, but Al Horford should not be taking 12 three-pointers. Joel Embiid took 10. Combined, our 2 big men shot 22 threes. They only went to the free throw line to combine 7 times, and 7 of those free throws was Joel Embiid. I've been screaming about Al Horford not being utilized properly forever now. There's no reason why that man should be jacking up 12 three-pointers. I'm disappointed with Al Horford's contribution to the squad since he's been signed, but I also am not as Porky, if that even makes sense, or I'm not part of the angry mob that run him out of town. Like, I would trade him if the right thing comes our way, and I would look to see what people would want with Al Horford. My point is this, though. I'm not one of those people screaming that Al Horford is the worst player in the world. I just think with this style of play, he's not being utilized properly. There's just no way he should be shooting that. No one should be taking 12 threes. That's a Steph Curry number. That's a James Harden number. That's a Klay Thompson number. If that. Now, I will say that Shaq is very hypocritical. For him to be bashing Embiid and saying he's out of shape and not working hard. Listen, Shaq, I respect your career. I respect that you won championships, and I respect your determination in the low post and dominating guys because there was no one who could touch him. But he was out of shape. He was in a feud with Kobe all the time because he wasn't working hard. So, calm down over there. I understand what he's saying, but at some point, dude, relax. You were the same exact way in your career at times. You got destroyed for being out of shape by your teammates. You weren't giving it 500% every night either. But that's not to give a pass on Joel Embiid because he's this guy who's going up to the media saying he's frustrated with this offense. There's not enough spacing. Even said people need to sacrifice. People need to sacrifice? You might be right. I'm not saying you're wrong, but so do you. So do you, Joel Embiid. He's been such a disappointment this season. I look at this team tonight, and I look at what Ben Simmons provided, I looked at what Joel Embiid provided, or the lack thereof for both of them. We're not going anywhere when those guys play the way that they played in this basketball game. Tobias Harris had 25 points. Now, he took a decent amount of shots, but he's not the issue in this game. Al Horford, even though he drove me crazy with all those three-point attempts, made 5 of them. He finished with 15. Like, was Al Horford the problem with this game? No, the problem to me were the 2 stars. We've been saying it for years. We won't go anywhere. The Sixers won't go anywhere unless those 2 players carry the team. And for them to know that their backs are against the wall and for them to play like this, I'm annoyed. Now, there's plenty more to talk about when it comes to this game, and I'm also going to be taking your phone calls later on in the show. But before we do, we need to hear a word from my sponsor, SeatGeek. Are you looking to go to a game, an NBA game, an NHL game, a college basketball game? If you use the promo code BROADS at SeatGeek's checkout page, you will receive $20 off of your total purchase. It's free parking. It's free food, free beer. It's a no-brainer. Use the promo code BROADS today. Now, one thing that got under my skin was Ben Simmons staying in Miami after they got beat down by 31 points. And I know that he had a discussion with the organization before, and this was all planned out prior to the game. But this isn't just a team who won 38 games so far this season, and they fell on their face, and it's whatever. This team is at an epic collapse. This is an epic collapse. They are getting destroyed by all the media outlets because they are so disturbing to watch. They're so dysfunctional. You have quotes being thrown up on the screen with Al Horford's face on it, with Ben Simmons' face on it, with Joel Embiid's face on it. This isn't a standard loss in Miami. I don't care what you had planned. For you to stay in Miami and for the team to take a flight home, that's so concerning to me, and it's a little detail to prove what this team is going through right now. I even heard that Josh Richardson was the guy who brought in the team meeting. Josh Richardson's the leader of this team now, apparently. I am fascinated by how ugly this has gotten. I really am. Giannis, 36 and 20. To be fair, though, it's not easy to stop this man. There's a reason why he's at the top of the league, and there's a reason why he's in the running for MVP. I love his mentality, though. He'll airball a 3. He'll miss a 3. It'll be ugly. Then he'll miss another one. Then he'll miss another one. But he won't stop shooting. He won't be afraid of the moment. Then he does his mean mug. You can see the difference between him and any of the Sixers players. Embiid's in the post very rarely, but he'll be in the post. He'll try and drive. He'll throw up his hands and try and draw contact instead of actually trying to put the basketball through the hoop. See, the Sixers were involved in this game early. I thought their defense was decent early on and in the first half and whatnot, but the Bucks were also missing shots and they were missing threes. Once those threes started to fall, it was a completely different game, and the Bucks sort of ran away with it there in the second half. Am I supposed to be satisfied that the Sixers didn't lose by 31? Well, at least they didn't lose by 31. Stop it with that garbage. It's another double-digit loss. Now, the bench sucked, but I didn't get a chance yet to talk about the moves that were made at the trade deadline. Elton Brand traded second-round picks to go out and get Alec, Burks, and Glenn Robinson III. Are they pieces that will make this team better? Absolutely. You can't be underwhelmed with the trade deadline moves because, listen, they weren't going to move Al Horford. They weren't going to move Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris. Those weren't even options. So to give up second-round picks, which they don't even utilize anyway, and to get guys who are shooting 40% from 3, 38% from 3, by all means, that helps your team. And then you had to cut some guys. They let Trey Burke go. That and the Raul Neto conversation, I don't get it. I can't comprehend it, but it is what it is. That's not the difference in this team making any legitimate noise or not, though, in my opinion. And they ended up trading James Ennis to the Orlando Magic for a second-round pick in return, which is interesting because James Ennis had a no-trade clause, but I think he realized once those 2 players came in that he wasn't going to get much playing time. He's been cut when it comes to minutes anyway. Shake Milton got some run, and you saw him playing point guard. I'm interested in what Shake Milton can be in a long-term project view, and Mario Shayok ended up knocking down a 3 in this basketball game as well, and he's a guy who can score the ball. That's his thing, but you know, those are long-term projects. Shake might have to be a legit piece to this team now, but those guys are, you know, more of a future thing than anything else. A back-to-back with the Memphis Grizzlies. The Sixers return to home. I'm actually going down to the Wells Fargo Center for that game, so it'll either be a fun night or a disappointing night or a frustrating night. We'll see. They'll probably win because they're on their home floor, but what am I saying? Why would I say that they're probably going to win? Disgraceful. Disgraceful from everyone. And it was a 11-point loss to the Bucks on the road. When you look at it that way, did you expect the Sixers to go on the road and beat that team who has a handful of losses? No, but when it snowballs like this, I'm sorry, you're not getting the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to destroy you and rip you apart just like you deserve to, because you need to stop the bleeding. You had to stop the bleeding. 0-4 on this road trip, unacceptable. Let's hit the phone line. So in case you didn't know, I opened up a 24/7 anytime hotline. The phone number is 856-442-9805. You can call in, you can leave your voice, leave your opinion, leave your frustration, leave your energy, and I will utilize them in my podcasts moving forward. It's also a text line as well. You can text the text line, same exact number, 856-442-9805. So let's start us off here with our first call.
Just rip the fucking Band-Aid off, man. I'm sick of it. Shit is a fucking mess, man. I'm just ready for our first round exit. Fire Brett and get the on with it, man. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
You can even hear him laughing in the background. That was tremendous. What a way to start us off here with the cause. It's like painful. This is what I've been talking about. You're in so much pain that you laugh. I mean, he's laughing at the end because he thinks it's so ridiculous. I don't blame him. I think the same way. I said I was fascinated by how ugly it is. I can't take my eyes off the screen because it's that horrendous. I'm so interested on how it's this bad, how they try and fix this. It's a crazy storyline for people covering the team. It's nonstop conversation. But man, it's crazy. All right, let's go to our next phone call.
I'm watching the Sixers team, and I am in awe on how Brett Brown is the coach of this team. I don't care if he went through all of the whole process and stuff. This man is the softest coach ever and would hand donuts out to the team if we lose by less than 10 points. This team's a joke, and this team needs to find it. Get Alec, Burke, and Glenn Robinson to the rotation. Take Korkmaz out. I don't want to even see Raul Neto hit the court again. And B needs to find himself, get back into shape, and then has to start taking mid-range shots. And Al Horford's got to stop taking threes.
Yeah, I mean, the Al Horford 3 thing comes with Brett Brown, and obviously he was not a fan of Brett Brown. He mentioned Korkmaz getting him off the floor. He lost his touch. You can look at the stat sheet afterward and say, well, he dropped this amount of points. He hit a 3 with under a minute left. That meant nothing, and he has not been the Korkmaz of that big stretch where he was actually a big-time contributor off the bench. He's been hurting this team more than he has been helping it, and that's why Elton Brand went out, essentially, and ended up getting this team bench help. We need to see how that will help things. I think Brett needs to just completely change the rotation and try different things. Whether it's Al Horford on the bench, whether it's Josh Richardson on the bench, whether it's get one of these new guys implemented. Matisse Thybulle seemed to hit a wall as well. He's hitting that rookie wall. You got to try something completely new because right now when it comes to this basketball team, it's making my eyes bleed, and it's time to do something different. You can't continue to do the same thing. There is a problem right now with the flow. I saw so many times with the offense, no one's moving. They're just passing back and forth by the perimeter until somebody has to shoot it, or they try and dribble drive, and you see 5 Milwaukee Bucks players swarm into the paint and swat. Happened to Tobias Harris a few times. I felt bad for the man. Like, whew. God bless. All right, Leo, what do you got for me?
Hey, Rhodes, it's Leo. Thanks for letting me on your podcast. I was just watching the Sixers and Bucks game, and I went on Twitter to find the phone number to call this, and the first thing that was trending was Embiid, and I clicked on it, and it was the first thing on it was Shaq calling him soft, and I was just watching the second half of the game, and every time they called a foul on Embiid, he started crying.
Nah, listen, Leo, thanks for the call. You're right. You're absolutely right. And that's something that I stated earlier. He would try and get fouled. And I know that's a key piece in the NBA. People do that all the time. You watch James Harden do it. You watch all these players try and get fouled. But it's blatantly obvious when you're just throwing yourself and you're not even trying to score the basketball. You're more focused on just foul, 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 foul. And don't get me wrong, it's the NBA. I'm sure they missed a ton of fouls throughout this game where there was a lot of contact, a lot of hands in the mix. But come on, Joel, you're supposed to be this dominating big man, and he hasn't even been close this season. It's a very disappointing season as a whole from him, and I don't know what to do. He's complaining. He's really showing it with his body language and the way he's sitting on the end of the bench. You heard them call that out in the broadcast where he was sitting by the edge of the bench, and he looked fatigued. He looked out of it. He didn't look engaged. That's rubbing off on the squad when you're supposed to be the franchise guy.
This team sucks. I cannot enjoy watching them night after night. It is horrendous. Something has to happen with Brett Brown. And it's clear Joel and Ben will never work together. And I say one's got to go, but obviously the trade deadline's passed. So guess what? We got to sit here and suck it up and have a horrible season.
I don't know if I'm on that Ben and Joel will never work together. That seems more of a frustrated comment. We've seen them be one bounce away from the Eastern Conference Final, and they were playing together. But do they need to add to their games? Yeah, I mean, Joel Embiid not playing well. Did that have anything to do with Ben Simmons when he was missing those shots when he shoots 6 of 26? There are spacing problems throughout the floor as a whole, and Brett Brown utilizing these people play a factor. But Joel Embiid sucked because Joel Embiid sucked in this basketball game. I don't know if I'm at the point where I'm saying they're never gonna work, but I understand why people feel that way right now because they have taken a step backwards. But I both believe that they haven't added enough to their games this offseason to really take a bigger leap in their careers, and we expected them to, and that's not our problem. We should expect them to, but they didn't return the favor with actually doing it, and that's where we have a problem.
Yo, bro, it's Nick from Fairmount. Just sat down with my pops to watch the Sixers Bucks, and I'm utterly embarrassed to be a fan of this franchise at the moment. Headed down to San tomorrow night to see the Grizzlies. Not too excited after what I just saw. This team is a joke, a disgrace to the city of Philadelphia. Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, one of them needs to get out. Brett Brown's got to get fired. I'm hoping for a big change in the offseason. Don't see him being much higher than the 6th seed in the East. You know, I was hoping with the process 5 years, I was expecting we're getting an NBA championship. The way they've been playing recently, no way in hell we get an NBA championship. Thanks for taking the call, brother.
I think it's too late for them to fire Brett Brown. It's so deep into the season. I do want them to at this point, but I'm looking at it from an organizational perspective, and I just feel like it's too late to make a big time move like that. There's not enough time to make it all work. You're going with the mindset of Brett, figure this the hell out. We have you in place to figure this out. You're getting new players. We're giving you bench help. We're giving you guys that can shoot threes. Do something better for this season. You mentioned big-time difference makers in the offseason. That will come. I believe that will come if it ends this way. If it ends in a first, second-round exit, things will be changed, no doubt about it. But for the rest of this season, sadly, I don't think that is an option. And we're going to have to live with what we have right now. And speaking of threes, by the way, what did they finish shooting? 42% from three, but they took 45 attempts. And for this squad, the bully ball squad, to go to the free throw line under 15 times, can't happen. Can't happen. Next up.
Bro, I can't believe what I'm seeing. I really can't. Embiid is he just walks around. Like the first half, he's walking around looking for fouls. I don't know if you saw Shaq, but it's just ridiculous. He was just making fun of him. Everybody's making fun of him. He isn't the same player he was. Like, I understand the roster isn't constructed it's not constructed well enough for him and Simmons to work. They don't have enough shooting. They still don't. I like Burks. I like the acquisition of Burks and Robinson. They don't have enough shooting. And where do they go from here? I mean, Al Horford took 11 threes tonight. 11 threes. Al Horford took 11. That's unacceptable.
I actually think he finished with 12. I've been screaming about Al Horford's threes forever. Where do they go right now? Where do they go from here? As I kind of just stated, there really isn't anywhere to go outside of what they have. They need to come together and figure this out. Do I think that that is going to happen? No, I don't. Sadly, I believe this is a lost season. But where do they go from here in terms of the rest of the 2020 NBA season? Nowhere. It hurts to say. I don't feel good saying that. I don't want that to be the answer. I wish I could say the NBA title. I wish I could say the NBA championship. It's not reality. Their road record makes me want to absolutely vomit. I don't know if there's ever been a team historically to have this type of road record and this type of home record in the same season. Their home record is an NBA title team. Their away record is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Maybe not that, because I think they might only have 9 wins on the season. Not really. I'm just being a Joe. But you know what I'm saying. It's just crazy to process it. Next up.
Yo, bros. It's Connor, Philly native, living in Maine. Listen, it's insane right now with this game. I mean, firstly, you have Al Horford trying 15 three-pointer attempts, which, you know, first of all, the way he shoots just makes me sick in the first place. But, you know, and then, you know, Joel Embiid with a lack of hustle. And the fact is that the announcers during the game were even making fun of how there was absolutely no hustle. When you have announcers that are supposed to be neutral to the game making fun of a team the entire game, I mean, that is just, it's an embarrassment. And the fact is that the owners aren't ever going to fire Brett Brown, you know, and I don't think the trades are going to work. You know, Burke is great and all that, but, you know, listen, I just don't, I don't think that kind of shooting is really going to help coming off the bench. The fact is that we don't have shooters at all. And, you know, and Elton Brand simply didn't even try to, get shooters in the first place, as far as I'm concerned, because they're trying to put Al Horford as a shooter when he's clearly not. So, anyway, man, thanks for all the shows. You do a great job. And
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think you're kind of poo-pooing the additions. It helps the team. They are shooters in this league. Glenn Robinson, I'm not as high on as Burks. They are shooters, though, and listen, they're not going to walk into this organization and walk into this locker room and this team's going to magically snap. But based off of what was coming off the bench, based off of the James Ennis, the Furkan Korkmaz, the things of that nature, even the Mike Scotts of the recent, there's no doubt this is an upgrade. It's still going to come down to Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, Al Horford, Tobias Harris, Josh Richardson, but you need some depth to help that, and they at least got something for realistically nothing. You watched Elton Brand pass up on those second rounders last season. They didn't do nearly what we thought they would do with all those picks, and he even got one back in return if they needed to utilize one of those to move up and get a Thibault type player or things of that nature moving forward, even though we did pass up on a lot of our first round picks to get players like Tobias Harris. And okay, all right, I get it, but still, I think he helped this team with those moves. And that's the main part. Did the team get better with those moves? Yes. Yes. You can't have the mindset going into this specific trade deadline that there was going to be game-changing moves, because that would be silly. There was no reason to believe that. It wasn't going to happen. That wasn't a reality. Let's go to Vince.
Yo, what's going on, bros? My name's Vince. I'm from Chicago. Just got done watching that absolute disgrace of a game. So I saw you said you wanted to rip into like Ben and JoJo, and I can rip into JoJo. I think he played terrible. I think he's got a lot to figure out. But with Ben, I don't know, man. I think that guy works hard every single night. He's got a good motor, and I'm one of the people that still have faith in this team. I think the two bench pieces that we just added are going to be very nice, and they're actually going to show up big for us. And I think the seeding really bothers me, but I'm still optimistic. So,
Vince, you seem like a good guy. You do. You seem like a good guy. I don't know how you can be optimistic. I know where you're coming from with Ben. He's on the floor 40 minutes a night. He's always running full speed. He's never tired, while you have Embiid missing a ton of games, and he looks fatigued, and his body language is bad. From that perspective, yes, I agree with you. But Ben Simmons does not get a pass. Ben Simmons refuses to shoot a basketball from 10 feet. Ben Simmons runs full speed. He stops his dribble. He kicks out to somebody who has a defender on him already. He hurts this team. I'm a Ben fan. I really am. I love this kid. I do, and I think he's got a bright future if he ends up ever shooting the damn ball. But we can't give him a free pass. I know he's an elite passer. I know he's an elite defender. I know he's all these things. He still hurts the team when he does this type of stuff that he did in this basketball game. I don't know how you're optimistic. I like you, Vince. You seem great. Really. I mean that. I truly do. And optimism's great. I want people to be optimistic. But I don't know how you can be with the way that this squad is playing.
Yo, bro, this Ant, long-time fan, man. Great YouTube channel, great social media accounts. I'll be hearing you on the radio too, but you're doing a good job. I just finished watching these Sixers and Bucks, and bruh, this is what I will say. It was a little bit more effort than I'm used to, than what we've been getting over this 5-game stretch, but it still wasn't good. But the three biggest problems with this team has been the three biggest problems for the last 3 years, dating back to the Boston series. Coaching, the stars not playing like stars, and until this season, roster construction. It's that simple. Once those three get fixed, then the Sixers will play better.
Those are some three big things. You're right. You're absolutely right. But those are some three big pieces we're talking about here, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that's a major overhaul of the whole organization.
You can't have Brett Brown as the coach because they just don't respect him. They ignore him. They don't give a damn what he has to say out his mouth. And they just don't care. You can see it. Like, they're walking back to the bench. He's trying to talk, and they just walk by him like he's invisible. They don't respect him. Like, it's crazy. Ben Simmons was supposed to take a step forward. He's taking a step backwards. Joel looks awful. He looks disengaged. Whenever he doesn't get the ball, he's pouting.
I absolutely can agree with you on all of your points. Thank you so much for the love and support. But I was saying, though, when I stopped that there, is those are some major changes, though. A new head coach is a major change. Your superstars playing like superstars while they're playing like average NBA players, that's a big-time difference. The roster being changed around, and it's not an easy change because of the contracts, because of the players. It's going to be an interesting ride, not just this season, but I'm talking as a whole, where this Sixers team goes moving forward as a whole. But when it comes to Brett Brown, there is a disconnect between the players. And you can see that between the players and the coach, that is. You can see it. You can see that his message is running dry with this group of men. But once again, I just feel like it's too deep. It's too deep into the season. For this team to pull the trigger right now, it's too late. Unless this continues. If they lose the next 3, I think we're talking something different. But if they go home and they win their home games, this is what it is for the time being. And the answer is, make this work, damn it. And that's their approach. Let's finish up with our last call.
Hey, bros, this is Coop from Willingboro, New Jersey, man. What the was that? Holy crap. Embiid looked like he didn't want to play half the game. He was pouting, 1 for 10 at halftime. I mean, I don't understand. Simmons might have had 7 points, and Embiid had 4 at halftime. Embiid starts getting hot. What does Brett Brown do? He takes him out the game. Simmons might have shot the ball once or twice the entire second half. I don't understand. They looked confused on offense every time they get the ball. They had no answer for Giannis. You can see it in Embiid's face. Him and Simmons don't like playing together. They do not like playing together at all. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But if they get a first or second round exit again, once again, I guarantee you Embiid's going to ask for a trade.
I don't know if he's going to ask for a trade, but a first round exit will be very, very ugly to see. When it comes to Ben and Joel, I'm torn because we've seen them succeed together. I do think Joel is frustrated with Ben because he's not shooting the ball. He's been saying it over and over and over again. You've been hearing him say it to the media over and over and over again. I do think that he's frustrated with Ben. I don't know if it's going to get to the point of demanding trades and things like that. I don't know. I just don't feel that way. It's possible. You do see it around this league. I just don't know if Joel is going to be that type of player. He has this connection with the city, and he was brought here from a different country, and there's just an emotional tie with the city that I feel like he feels this connection and this support. Maybe not after this stretch, and he hears Philadelphia Sports Talk Radio. Maybe that would change his mind. I don't know if he's going to demand a trade, but it will get ugly, and there will have to be some different things going on when it comes to upper management, phone calls made, people fired, people losing their jobs. No doubt. So, a back-to-back. We will be back to discuss the Memphis game tomorrow. As I stated, I will be in attendance. I'll see John Morant live. It'll be fun. As long as the Sixers compete. Could you imagine the boos that are going to rain down if they have a bad effort like they did in Miami? I want to thank everyone for calling in. Once again, the number is 856-442-9805. That's 856-442-9805. It's open 24/7. You can call and leave a message whenever you like. It's also a text board. You can text the number. I love implementing your opinions into the show. I'm working on some things. I'm adding things to it. I think this is really unique, and it's awesome to be able to share that connection with the fan. It feels great. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe, and I will see you next time.